they should be over at Coast to Coast. We got racing happening here. Heat number 3 as they're out there. Coming down through off the back front stretch. Down there through corner number 1. I'm sorry, this is warm-ups. Heat number 3, it's winner's war. If I can get it to come up. Cannot get it to come up. SDK not being nice here tonight. We are live here at Coast to Coast. So here in warm-ups, we tried to get things situated, could not quite figure out what in the world's going on with SDK, but at least we did get live over here at Coast to Coast. Sorry about that. We missed the heats at Coast to Coast. We did get a little bit of it over at Figure Farm TV. There's the Fat Boys there in 18th here in warm-up. Not really sure what's going on here with SDK, but something is going on that it's not allowing me to do what I need it to do. And show up on screen. We see that it's given some issues here on the stream as well. Now, at least the iRacing control's working. Then we can get out there and at least enjoy the run. I said, unsure exactly what's going on with the SDK here tonight. We are here getting set for the feature of the limited late models. Inaugural week here with the Hometown Heroes. Starting off here with them with the limited late models at Lernerville. Then we'll move into 360s. I believe the 360s. Then we go into midgets. Usually about 30 laps the distance. Now, we're trying here. Just unfortunately some technical difficulties here in the booth tonight. All right, here we go. Coming here off of turn number 4. They're going to get on that loud pedal once they say green. And down through the front straightaway into corner number 1. Diving down there on the bottom. That's Brandon Templeton as he goes up. And whoa, that was close. Almost slides it clear up off the racetrack. Giving room there for Chris Thompson to get back around him. Kurt Schatzer now battles down there on the bottom side. As they all battle up here, they see the 88 there. Dan McLaren rolling his way through the middle of the field. Working down through the backstretch. In the corner number 3 and 4. Getting into the back of the 35 there. Going to try to catch it. Make sure he doesn't slide up off the racetrack. Going 4 wide there out of corner number 4. That's him 3 wide there. Chris Thompson still out front. Bob the Good having issues as he's back here toward the back. Working down there through corner number 3 and 4. The 88 there of McLaren, Harold Klump. There you see Patrick Spangler up there in the 6th. Top side, Chris Thompson followed by Templeton as they work down through the backstretch. Everybody works side by side. Here on lap number 4. In the corner number 1, everybody's rolling really well. I would see the 41 there, Pat Boyce there in 11th. Jeff Barker up there in 9th. Patrick Spangler there in 6th. Their work going off here. Hang on. Oh, hang on to it. Everybody checks up. Chris Thompson, all type of sideways. Now getting punted there from the back. Issues there for Chris Thompson. They bring it down there on the bottom side. No caution is out. Green flag back in the air, down across the front stretch. Dublin doing what he can to hang on to the low side there, to hang on to the lead. Spangler there in the 3rd as he works up off the corner. Down here comes Schatzer as he works around there, sliding up in front of Templeton. And it looks like we have Jeff Barker having an issue back here. I thought somebody else was caught up in that as well. We'll take a look at this one here. Coming there in the corner, you see them all 4 wide. Yeah, you're watching there, the 513 up there on the top side, trying to see here. Jeff Barker, that's the one we're looking at. I would see the 79 there. Reynolds gets into the back of the 88. Now we see there, it just dips off the back of the racetrack just enough. Here comes that 35 of Harold Klump. They're going to get together as Barker tried to bring it back up on track. They're going to get sideways. And the 35 loses it through the corner and stacks up the field. So Harold Klump stacking the field up, coming out of the corner, up and over. Side by side once again. You see Templeton up there on the high side. Shots are down there on the inside. Green flag back in the air. What a great start there by Templeton up there on the high side. As you see, Shots are trying to get back up there. You got Spangler down there as well. Whoa, hang on. As the 83 of Dittmer gets a great job, gets a great run to the outside, coming up there off of turn 4. Back down that front straightaway, down into corner number 1 and 2. You're looking here at the 72nd of Ryland Banks and Matt Barber as they come out of turn 2, down into corner number 3 and 4. Templeton as your leader. I see Spangler, he's doing everything he can to get onto the bottom there and get around Dittmer there for third. Off turn number 2, down that bow. Hang on, here we go, down here in the corner number 3. The 76 there of Ryland Banks. Coming down there, ends up into the outside wall there, just a smidge as they come out of the corner. Down there through the backstretch. Kurt Satcher hanging on to second. Dittmer there third. Templeton out front, up there against that rail on that high side. He goes any higher, he will dip off the racetrack. Now you can see by that fresh tire track up there way at the top just how close these drivers are to taking these cars right over off that back, right off of that bank. As they hang it all out on the edge here at Lernerville tonight. Spangler down there on the bottom side. Going to slide it up. Can't quite get there. Going to bring it back in line there in fourth as he heads up there through the top side once again. Running these limited late models here tonight at Lernerville for the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Pat Boyce there in 14th. Andy Patton there in 15th. We got them side by side there as Spangler gets down underneath the Schatzer. Schatzer falls back into fourth. He's going to do a crossover. Gets into the back of the 39 and Spangler just a little bit. And work there off of turn number 2. Way up there against the outside wall. Great job there by Spangler. Keeping it gripped up there on the top. As it worked there out of turn number 4. Schatzer falls back in position. Dittmer out there in front. Out there in front. Dittmer there in second. That comes storming off there down that front straightaway in the corner number 1 and 2. Spangler down there on the inside. Now gets up there in the second as he gets around Dittmer. Templeton there out front, leading the way. Schatzer back there in third, or fourth rather. And fight for a position behind him. There you see Dean Reynolds in sixth. Now up the pit, it comes across the nose there of the 88 of McLaren. These two battling it out hard. The yellow flag is out. Terry Land is bringing out the caution. Now you see what I mean by them dipping off the back of the third. He did so, but he did a great job getting it out of the way. Ends up down there into the pit lane, or down there into the infield tire. Lights go out. We're going to stay single file here for the restart. Coming in out front, Spangler there in second. Green flag is out down here in the corner number 1 to go. Spangler there in second. Templeton out there in front. Dittmer there in third as they head on down here out of turn number 3 and 4. Back out here onto the front stretch with Templeton leading. Spangler now goes to the lead as Dittmer gets up, or I'm sorry, no, Templeton gets up there into the outside wall just a little bit. Dittmer now gets around there, up there against the top side. Templeton hangs on to third. He battles back down there on the inside. What are they? Somewhere about 15 laps to go, if I'm correct. I'm unsure of that, and I don't have a lap count just like you all don't. Not the quality that I wanted to start the season here. Now we see Templeton trying to take over there, but can't quite get there. And now he falls back almost behind Schatzer. Schatzer works there off a turn number 4 down through in the corner number 1 and 2. Spangler your leader. Schatzer there third. Dittmer in second. And there you see Spangler out front, up there against that top side. Getting it done here at Lernerville at the moment. Yeah, they bring it on out here. Schatzer there in third. Dittmer there in second. Templeton falling back there in to fourth. White flag is out. Spangler here getting the win. Dittmer there is in second. Schatzer gets third. Templeton fourth. McLaren fifth. Matt Barber gets sixth. Ryland Banks 7th, Dean Reynolds 8th, Clay Christopherson in 9th, Pat Boyce there in 10th, Isaac Bowman there in 11th, Jeff Barker 12th, Bob the Good there 13th, Harold Klump 14th, Stephen Bixler there in 15th, Jacob Mossal in 16th, Andy Patton 17th, Randall Dixon 18th, Terry Landis there in 19th, David Terminsky there in 20th, Michael Vitale in 21st. We'll see if we can get with some of our winners here. See where they're at. See if they come up here to the waiting room. Spangler, Dittmer, Schatzer, your top 3 here in the limited late model. We have Dittmer here. Good evening, Dittmer. How's it going?
Not so bad yourself.
Could be going better if I had some overlays on the stream.
That's not good.
No, it makes a tough broadcast too because I don't have any overlays on my end either.
Oh, that makes it really tough.
So I have like no clue what lap you guys are on until it's like I get the notification. White flag and checker flag comes so quick after that. But you did a great job. You got second there. Man, what a race tonight.
Yeah, it was a little bit interesting. I haven't driven these cars in the longest time, and they're a hell of a lot easier to drive than the pros and the supers. But no, it's like you just really got to get in line. Maybe throw a slider here and there, and just hope it sticks. Like I threw 2 sliders through 3 and 4 and fell over. I got lucky on one of them. Got a caution. The caution came out as I was going over, so I got my spot back. But no, if you just messed up a little bit, you were just going backwards, and it's tough.
Yeah, it seemed like there was a few drivers struggling just a shade here tonight. Cause it seemed like there was that one fast line up around the top here at Lernerville tonight.
Yeah, especially in these, like they don't have enough power to get you down around the bottom and kind of dig a little bit. So you just got to find a place in line and hope you don't mess it up.
Well, congrats on getting that second place. You got shout-outs, sponsors, anybody you need to thank?
Oh, you for the broadcast, everybody behind the scenes for Coast to Coast making this stuff run. Training Oils Racing, me and Patrick putting in 1-2 tonight. We don't get to do that too often, so I'm always happy to see that. And just everybody around for the competition for some pretty good racing tonight up front.
Alrighty, well, congrats, and Will you be racing more here tonight?
Yeah, I'll get 360s in, and I'll try to get the midgets in as well.
Alrighty. We look forward to seeing all of them race here in a little while.
Sounds good.
All right, thank you so much, and congrats again for second place here in the Limiteds.
Thank you.
All right, I have Brandon Dittmer, our second place. Now we'll get with Kurt Schatz, our third place. Good evening here, Kurt. How's it going?
Hey man, it's going all right. Got to sit on the podium here with the boys.
Yeah, you got the podium. Tough race out there.
Oh yeah, it was a tough there. I think the fast line was kind of really up there on the cushion, and it was a really fine line in 3 and 4 there. I think maybe the whole top 4 might have had some kind of damage from going over and catching that wall down that front stretch.
Well, I mean, when isn't it a fine line to run that cushion here at Lernerville?
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely had me puckering a whole lot there.
Yeah, that's one thing at Lernerville is fun to watch. Is just how well drivers can hang on to that top groove up there on that cushion and just rip it without going over. I mean, it is something to watch, especially in person.
Oh yeah, I mean Lernerville's a really fun track. I love coming here every time we get to race this track here. I don't have a whole lot of experience here lately in the limiteds. It's the first time getting back in a while, so really didn't know what the car was going to expect when you try different things or not. I know I was scuffing a whole lot of momentum if I tried a different line or something like that, so I was just kind of trying to stay smooth. I got over that berm pretty early. I was following Templeton there. I was kind of hoping we could have had a 1-2 finish, but I got over that berm. I think it put me back to 4th there, and I was just kind of hanging on. I seen Dittmer about go over it once, and then I thought I was going to have a shot at him, and then I think Templeton might have had it too, and that's what allowed me to get back by him. I was really mad to see that one yellow came out on that one restart. I think I had a really good start. I think I was getting ready to come to the line first, but the yellow came out right when we were coming off, so I had to give that back and just trying to have a good run.
All right, well, congrats getting that third place. You got sponsors, shout-outs. Anybody you want to thank for helping you get onto that podium?
Oh, yeah. First, I got to thank the good Lord for everything he does in my life. And Dirt Track Bank, Got Your Six Racing Network, Hammer Down Racing, Brandon Templeton, Brian Dickens, Joe Halter. We got a new guy on the team there, Mike Weeda. And you coming out and doing the broadcast coast to coast, everybody that watches us. And, yeah.
Alrighty, well, congrats getting that third place tonight. Can't wait to see what we got going forward here tonight.
Yep, I think this is my only race here. I go up and spend some time with the family and get ready for work tomorrow, but I just wanted to come out and get a race in, so thank you.
Well, thanks for coming out to join us. That was Kurt Schatz, our third place finisher. Now we'll get with Patrick, our winner here tonight. Good evening there, Patrick. How's Victory Lane?
Pretty good. Been a while since I've been here, but happy to be here on the opening night.
Well, yeah, you had a great race going out there. I'm not quite sure where you started. I'm showing on my end that you came through the field quite a ways.
Yeah, I started 8th and then just stayed out of people going forward and threw one slider on Brandon there and just say we'll get lucky to keep it clean.
Now, I know some drivers, they were saying about how difficult that bottom was to run, but you seem to be making it work here and there throughout the race.
Yeah, I tried going down there, but the gearing was so high. Once you went down there, like, it would just bog the motor down. So I only used it when I really had to on those 2 sliders I did. But yeah, it would just bog the motor and you'd lose a lot of speed.
And that's the one thing with the limit is you got to keep that momentum and that RPM highs, it seems, to keep that car going forward.
Yeah, I was surprised though because I haven't been a fan of the Pro Late and Super Late just because they push like a dump truck now. But these limited lates were fun to drive. They're just a little underpowered, but that was a fun race. Looking forward to next week at Lincoln Report. Roll out here where we're at, but it should be a fun race. Hopefully it'll be 2 lanes.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I mean, great start to the season though, getting that victory here. You got sponsor shout-outs. Anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, just you for the awesome broadcast. Everything you for the league with the graphics, everything else. Dad, I'll go back home and watch it. Wife for letting me race, and Jack and Jeff for keeping Coast Coast running.
Alrighty, well, congrats again, getting that victory. We'll see how the rest of the night goes here. Staying here at Lernerville for the 360s, and then on to, forget where we're going for the midgets.
Yeah, hopefully this is my best car and track combo for the sprints. Hopefully I'll be talking to you again soon.
Alrighty, well, we'll see. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, that was Patrick Spangler, our winner here in the limited late models. Here, brought to you by A&J Creations. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Again, I don't have any of my overlays up working here like they should be tonight. So we're going to take a short break. We'll be back here from Lernerville for the 360s in just a moment.
It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. It's on the champion, trying to be at the
Hiatus. So let's get.
When we talk about it.
These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately, they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
All right, we're back here from the Speedway. As we get set for the 360s to get up and rolling. Trying to get to where we have our overlay in it. There we go. Hooray, it's back. Now we get set for qualifying here tonight. So glad SDK can come out to join us here tonight. Sorry for the limited late models. That was a crapshoot of a broadcast here tonight. I promise next week will be much, much better. Now we get set here with qualifying currently, and Matt Barber already takes it over top of the edge out of turn number 1. We see Andy Patton out here in the 87 down here through turn number 3 and 4, back out onto the front stretch. As they work down there through the bottom of 1 and 2, up, off, and down that backstretch, trying to get comfortable with the car. We're going to see some drivers. We see here Patrick Spangler coming down out of the corner, down through, off of in the corner number 3 and 4, up, off, down into corner number 1. Spangler sets the quick time so far with a 12.973. Landis with a 13.081. Bixler gets up there in the second with 13.069. These drivers still putting in some lap times here tonight. Let us know if that SDK is hard to read. We can always adjust things. Now, this isn't the flat line. This is A and J. All right, here we go. Getting set with the grid for heat number 1. Your starting grid. It's going to be Cale Bixler there in front. Jeff Barker there second. Terry Landis there third. Patrick Spangler will be fourth. Pat Boyce there in fifth. Gavin Shaw in sixth. Dan McLaren there in seventh. Matt Barber there in eighth. Out there, we are getting set, rock and roll here with heat number 1. 6 laps the distance. Bixler there with a little bit of a connection issue as they work down through that back straightaway. Everybody side by side. Sprint cars getting ready to roll here. These are the 360s as they roll there through turn 3 and 4. Back out here onto the front stretch. And loud pedals press. They're down there in the corner number 1. Spangler up there on the top side. Look out. Here comes the number 161. Terry Landis trying to make a move on the bottom side. Can't quite get there. Look out, though. Here comes Spangler up there on the high side. He makes a move, gets up there past. He's now up there into third. And now, oh, hang on to it. And we do got the 513 of Barger up and over the back stretch. As they come back down through the front stretch. Bixler there out front in first. Spangler there in second. McLaren there having issues without a wing there. Now it comes back as they get started here. We see the 161 of Terry Landis. He's going to pull it into the infield. They work down there through turn 1 and 2. Look out. Here comes Spangler there in second. Bixler there up front, running really well here tonight. Work off of turn number 2. 2 laps to go. Down off of 4 in the corner number 1 and 2. Matt Barber there in fourth. Gavin Shaw there in fifth. Spangler there in second as they roll here up off of turn number 4. Last lap here for heat number 1. Spangler brings it down and puts it right on the nose of Bixler. Bixler has to collect it as they come down there. Here comes now Spangler as they all collect coming off the corner. Lee Spangler there getting the win here tonight. Getting the win there in heat number 1. We'll take a look at it here as they get lined up for heat number 2. Heat number 1 will go to Patrick Spangler. Matt Barber there second. Cale Bixler there in third. Pat Boyce in fourth. Gavin Shaw there fifth. Dan McLaren there sixth. Terry Landis there in seventh. Jeff Barger in eighth. Heat number 2, the grid will look like it. Brandon Dittmer out there on pole. Andy Patton there in second. Dean Reynolds third. Stephen Bixler there in fourth. Bob the Good there in fifth. Brian Moore in sixth. And David Termansky there in seventh. Hailing down here in the corner number 1 and 2. A driver doing everything he can to hang on to it. Dittmer there out there as your pole center, getting ready to hit that loud pedal off of turn number 4. They're down and away in the corner number 1. Reynolds there in third, right there on the bottom side. There you got Patton up there on the high side. Lost a little bit of ground there through 1 and 2 as he tries to fight there up on the top side. Dean Reynolds down there on the inside gets up there in the second, right behind Dittmer. Patton going to be up there in third. Bob the Good and David Domansky end up crashing. Now we see Bob the Good goes off of turn number 2 down that front straightaway. Here's Dean Reynolds there in second with Andy Patton there in third. 4 to go here in heat number 2. Brandon Dittmer out there in front. Dean Reynolds there in second. Andy Patton there in third. Stephen Bixler fourth. Brian Moore in fifth as they roll out here onto that bottom straight. Yeah, see, Tomansky pulls off there. Here comes Dittmer. Reynolds there in second. Patton there third. Bixler there in fourth. And Moore rounds out the fifth back there at the bottom. Out front, Dittmer. Reynolds there in second. Patton third. And rolling down here. Everybody's single file last lap here for Brandon Dittmer as he hangs on here out front. I got Dean Reynolds there second, Andy Patton third, rolling here off of turn number 4. Up along that high side against that outside wall, down across the stripe. it will be Brandon Dittmer with the win here in heat number 2. We just wait now for the results to come in. Here is your results. Brandon Dittmer there in first, Dean Reynolds second, Andy Patton third, Stephen Bixler there fourth, Brian Moore in fifth, David Tomansky there in sixth, Bob the Good in seventh.
These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. In the hospital 8 months, and that got really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash, found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken, I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
All right, we're back here at the raceway. This is not the midget division. This is the... Just leave that blank. This is the 360s. Adam Spangler out there in front. Brandon Dittmer there in second. Matt Barber there third. Dean Reynolds will roll off tonight starting fourth. Cale Bixler starts fifth with Andy Patton starting sixth. Pat Boyce starts seventh. Stephen Bixler rolls off in eighth tonight. Gavin Shaw in ninth. Brian Moore in 10th. Dan McLaren there in 12th. David Tromansky there in... Dan McLaren's in 11th. David Tomansky there in 12th. Starting 13th, that's going to be Terry Landis with Bob the Good there in 14th. 15th is going to be Jeff Barker. That is your starting field here tonight. 15 drivers set to take it on here around Lernerville. It's going to be 25 laps for the distance. For your hometown heroes tonight, your starting grid here brought to you by RSN Trackside. Brandon Dittmer down there on the outside of Spangler. Spangler had a great run in his heat race. Had a great run in the limited lates here just a little bit ago. We're here off turn number 4. They're down and away. Spangler down there on the inside, going to try to get down there. He does. Now he can bring it up. Slides it up off the corner, gets up there to the top side. Dittmer there in the second. Barber fights there in third, down there on the little bit lower line. They come down here in the corner number 3 and 4. Dean Reynolds back here in 5th. Cale Bixler, he's trying to move himself up through, and that's 789. Matt Barber in the number 16 down there below. Brandon Dittmer, they come there off 4. 23 laps to go. We see him coming down into corner number 1. Here you see the 161. Had trouble in his heat race. Ends up coming back out here now. Then gets down here below. Working on the 110. Or 710, sorry. Of Gavin Shaw. So Terry Landis working back there in about 8th right now. Andy Patton there in the 87, start running there in 6th. Cale Bixler, and we got one around, I thought. Well, maybe not, just maybe have been real loose coming off the corner. We see him coming down off the start. There you see Matt Barber in 4th right now. Now back up to 3rd, and he's fighting there with Dean Reynolds now. He was up there fighting Dittmer. Spangler, he's up there on that top line. Up there against the cushion, keeping that thing right where he needs to be. Off of turn number 4, down here, caution is out. As Cale Bixler is everywhere back here, it seems. We see there you see that 789 getting way loose, comes down into the 82, clips another one. He ends up spun around a few different ways, then he pulls it up off the racetrack, get out of the way. There you see Bixler coming there through off the pit road. Spangler out there in front, lights still on that pace car. Waiting for the lights to go out, to go back, green flag racing. There we go, down into corner number 1. They're side by side. And everybody set to rock and roll off of 2. Lights go out. They're going to be ready and eager to start back up here. 19 laps to go. That is the distance left of the race. And we're here out of turn number 3. Down on the start-finish line. You see Patrick Spangler out there in front once again. Matt Barber up there in 2nd. Stephen Bixler having issues back here towards the back. And now he's got it back under control. Here they go off of turn number 3 and 4. Getting together a little bit there off turn 4. Jeff Barker, they got Gavin Shaw there in the number 710, working down here in the corner number 3 and 4. Side by side, 3 wide if they can, off of turn number 4 down into corner number 1. Here at Lernerville tonight for the Coast to Coast Racing League. Hometown here is brought to you by A&J Custom Creations. They work there off the corner, in the corner number 1 and 2. And I realize that not all the sponsors are in the correct spots yet, but we will get them there, I do promise. Work off the corner. Dean Reynolds there in 3rd. Matt Barber there for it. Terry Landis there 5th. Dan McLaren there in 6th. Pat Boyce there in 7th. Jeff Barker in 8th. With Gavin Shaw and Cale Bixler rounding out your top 10. We see that 513. Jeff Barker working down there on the bottom edge, trying to get around the 41 of Pat Boyce. Work down there out of 2. Cross the back stretch down into corner number 3. Dittmer out there in second. Reynolds there fighting for third. Hey, Matt Barber and Terry Landis right there with him. Fighting down there on the bottom side. Yellow is out. Possibly for Andy Patton. And we're watching there the 87 of Andy Patton. Comes up and gets off the start, ends up around, sliding down across the bank of turn number 1. Dean Reynolds up here in third. Dittmer there in second. Spangler there out front. 13 laps to go here in the 360s Hometown Heroes. You got A&J Custom Creations sponsoring the night here with the Hometown Heroes. Reynolds getting a little anxious to get rolling. Spangler out there in front. Been looking really comfortable here at Lernerville tonight. Again, for those that might not know, Spangler actually does race at Lernerville. I can't remember exactly what he races IRL, but he definitely races at Lernerville. That is one of the tracks he runs. We got Spangler out there in front. Dittmer in second. Here we go in the corner number 3 and 4. Off of 4 they go. The owl pedal gets hit. Spangler's down and away. Everybody else follows 2 by 2. 12 laps to go here in the Coast to Coast Racing League. A&J Custom Creations Hometown Heroes night with the 360s. After these, then we got a treat going to Cedar Lake to watch the midgets. Bob the Good and Stephen Bixler come together. Bob the Good still having issues back here. He's down off the back side of the racetrack. Working there through turn 3 and 4. 10 laps to go for Patrick Spangler as he comes across the line. Trying to find out where the action is. Here's action with Cale Bixler and Gavin Shaw. That's battle for 8th. Head on down here in the corner number 3 and 4. See that top edge getting worn in here. 9 laps to go. Out of corner number 2, down that back straightaway. Down here in the corner number 1 once again. Gavin Shaw, that's 710. Patrick Spangler is your leader. Where you see Reynolds chasing down 3rd place here. Dittmer up there on the high side. Spangler out there in front in 1st. Dean Reynolds there in 3rd. Terry Landis in 4th. He did struggle a little bit here and there. Get going in the night, but once he did, it looks really good for him in that Yahoo number 161. Working down that back stretch right now. Sitting currently in 4th. Would like to see if he can get up here to 3rd. And the man he's got a pass to do that is Dean Reynolds. All right, 4 laps to go. Spangler out there in front. Dittmer here in 2nd. Reynolds there 3rd. Landis in 4th. McLaren there 5th. Barber there in 6th. Barker there 7th. Shaw in 8th. Ryan Moore there in 9th. Kel Bixler there in 10th. That is your top 10 as they roll out through the field here. Looks like we do have a few drivers out as we got 2 laps to go for Patrick Spangler in that number 39. Brandon Dittmer sitting here running 2nd. There you see Dean Reynolds currently there in 3rd as it seems like everybody just stretched out. Look out though, here comes Dean McLaren working on that top side in that 88. Just a little bit in front of him is the 16 of Matt Barber. Checker flag is out for Spangler as they come across the line. Here comes Dean Reynolds off of 3. He'll get 3rd. Waiting on the results to come in. Here we go. Finishing results are going to be Patrick Spangler getting the win. Brandon Dittmer there in second. Dean Reynolds third. Terry Landis there fourth. Matt Barber there fifth. Dan McLaren there in sixth. Jeff Barker in seventh. Gavin Shaw in eighth. Brian Moore there in ninth. Cale Bixler there in 10th. Bob the Good there in 11th. David Tormansky there in 12th. Pat Boyce there in 13th. Andy Patton there in 14th. And Stephen Bixler will round out your field of 15 drivers tonight. Good evening there, Dean. How's it going?
What's going on, Adam? How you doing?
Well, I'm doing better now that I got SDK and all the overlays back.
Well, there you go. You know, it's opening night jitters. That's okay, Adam. We're
Yes.
going to have that. And, we're glad you got it up and running. And, but thank you again for doing Wednesday. And thanks to you, even the midgets are going to get televised.
Yeah, that's right. They deserve their time, too. I mean, they're so fun to watch.
Yes, they are. There's a lot of good runners in the midgets. And, Cedar Lake, I think that's going to be a good racetrack for them as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And, hey, we stuck one in. We got a podium here, Adam. So we're a little lucky here, too.
Well, you definitely got the podium, getting third here. That track looked like it was pretty hooked up if you could catch it right.
It was right on the top there. I saw Terry making the bottom work a little bit, but if you wanted to keep your speed, you had to keep it on the top. But boy, it was awfully thin now. I just told the guys I was sitting there in the room, I was waiting for one or two of them to fall off because their right rears were right on the fringe. And I didn't put my right rear on the fringe because I wasn't going to catch them no matter what I was going to do. So I just saw how much distance I had between me and the guy behind me and just keep it safe and see if they fall off. But Brandon and Patrick are so good, they never did. So we got a good shot.
Yeah, I mean, and I've watched pros at Lernerville, like IRL, drop off that fringe and put that right rear off of the track, and they can get kind of scary.
Yeah, at Lernerville, you don't have any room to spare because once you get off, you can't really bring it because the banking on the other side is so tight. You really can't bring it back on the track unless you go off in the back straightaway. Sometimes you go off in the back straightaway, you can sneak it back on before you go into third. But turn three. But that's the beauty of Lernerville. That's what makes it unique. And I kind of wish iRacing would scan a couple more tracks without walls on the outside and give us that dynamic.
Yeah, it would be. It'd be nice. I mean, but we'll see. I know iRacing supposedly has more tracks in their wings, but I haven't heard anything about any more tracks coming yet for dirt.
Yeah, I know they have 6 tracks that are scanned for dirt, and we're kind of waiting. And some of them, like Attica and the High Banks, Bellevue High Banks, I really would like to see in this game. So, hopefully they'll give us some love here on the dirt end and give us something new.
Alrighty, well, congrats there for third place. Getting onto that podium there, Dean. You got sponsor shout-outs. Anybody you want to thank for getting that podium tonight?
Oh, yeah, I got to thank the guys from FTM Full Throttle Motorsports, as always. They really helped me out and keep the old guy going. And, I got to say thanks to Patrick Spangler, who's helped me out greatly on the open sets, and Gavin Shadow, who's helped me greatly on the fixed sets as well. And, gave this old guy some speed so I can hang with these Dittmers and these Spanglers and get a couple podiums here and there. So I got to thank those guys. Got to thank AJ Custom Creations, Andy Patton, for sponsoring not only the limited late models, which was his idea to bring them back, and glad he did because we had a great race there, and also the sponsor of sprint cars. So I got to thank him. And Adam, we got to thank you for doing the broadcast, and also for you with Regal's Rods and Designs for sponsoring the midgets. So everyone get to watch them, and just want to say hi to Megan at home watching on the stream. And I didn't send the link to my dad, but we'll go send him the link so he can at least enjoy watching the sprint car race.
Alrighty. Well, congrats there, getting third, and we'll see how well you do in the midgets if you're taking them out on the track.
Well, unfortunately, I got another race I got to go to with the sprint car, so we're going to jump into that, but I'll definitely watch the broadcast later.
Alrighty. Well, good luck in your race you're going to there, Dean.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks again.
All right, that was Dean Reynolds, our third place finisher. Now we'll get with Brandon Dittmer. Good evening there, Brandon. How's it going?
Not so bad yourself?
It's going pretty well. How's that second place feel here tonight?
Oh, second place doesn't feel too bad, especially when it's against Patrick. He's a beast in these sprint cars, and I mean, finishing above him any day is an amazing day, but finishing right behind him on this track, I'll take it. I mean, I was sitting right there with him for the longest time, and then I made a couple mistakes, kind of got uncomfortable with the car, so I just kind of just let him go, made sure I played it safe, didn't go over the edge, and just brought her home for a second.
Well, you did a great job hanging on to it. I know you had to race Dean and a couple others to keep a hold of second there for a little while.
Yeah, Dean kind of tried to throw a slider there on me on that last restart. Luckily, I got enough of the cushion to kind of run right by him and thankfully get away. I think if I would have got caught up with that, I probably would have set myself over the edge trying to race a little bit too hard, so really glad for that.
All right, well, congrats here tonight. Can't wait to see. Are you coming out for the midgets?
Gonna give her a try, yes, sir.
All right, so we'll see you at Cedar Lake then with the midgets. You got sponsor shout-outs. Anybody you want to thank for getting second tonight?
Of course, you for broadcast, everybody behind the scenes, coast to coast, all the racers putting on a great race. All the sponsors making this stuff happen, making the broadcast of it happen. Training Wheels Racing, me and Patrick getting another 1-2. Hopefully we can make it 3 times tonight if he decides to come out and run the midgets with us.
All righty, well, congrats again, and we'll see how well you go the rest of your night. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. Good evening, Patrick. We're talking to you again. How's it going?
Pretty good, yeah.
It's going well. Do you run midgets?
I'm going to try tonight just to try to do the clean sweep here. Not normally, so we'll see how this goes.
You're going to try the sweep, huh?
Yeah, we'll give her the old college try there. Not Lernerville. Lernerville's definitely our bread and butter, so we'll see how we do at least Cedar Lake.
Oh, Cedar Lake shouldn't be too terrible.
Yeah, just got to avoid those inside tires. I have a uncanny ability to start hugging them when I try to run the bottom, so we'll see what happens.
Alrighty, well, you got victory here for a second time. You did a great job. You looked like you were pretty comfortable out there in that 360 up there against that top side.
Yeah, definitely had the most laps on the sim there at that track. That's definitely my favorite car and track combo, so just always comfortable and usually one of my best tracks, so that was a fun one.
Now, you do race at Lernerville IRL, correct?
I took the car out twice for a practice session. That's about as far as my racing career in real life goes. I got about 10 laps under there. Definitely not anywhere near the speed that I do in iRacing now. Probably driving like a grandma when I was out there, but it was fun.
So you have about 10 laps under your belt in the sprint car at Lernerville then?
Yeah, I was in the 4K Bo Kiley car, so yeah, it was fun night. But yeah.
You think you'll do it again?
It all depends. Has to line up for when I'm home and when the test and tune sessions are. Just go around and turn some laps because I definitely will not go out there for a race. But yeah, definitely something fun and something you won't forget.
Alrighty, well, congrats, and you got sponsor shout-outs. Anybody you want to thank for getting that first place here tonight?
Yeah, just you for the awesome broadcast, everything you do for the league. Jack and Jeff run the league. A&J Custom Creations and Fleeca Farm TV for the sponsorships on Wednesday. Dad, Uncle, back home watching. Wife letting me race, and Bill Kiley letting me race his car.
Alrighty, well, we'll see how well the rest of your night goes. Good luck here coming up in the midgets.
Thanks.
All right, that was Patrick Spangler, our winner here in the 360s. Can't wait to see exactly how the rest of the night goes. So congrats there to everybody. Thank you all so much for watching so far. We will be back shortly as we travel over to Cedar Lake for the midgets. Be sure to stay tuned. Don't want to miss that.
It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Gets on the champion. Trying to be a bit of a hiatus, so let's get. We talked about it.
These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
All right, we're back with the broadcast, but this time we're here at Cedar Lake. They are here at the midgets. Brandon Templeton there out front. Terry Landis there getting some laps under his belt here before the race begins. Eddie Patton out there. Qualifying underway for the midgets. Currently got Brandon Templeton out there. Yeah, he's down there on the bottom side of the racetrack. And there we see the Brandon Dittmer in the number 83. Should be a lot of fun watching these guys sling dirt in the midgets. Come up off the corner, up against that outside wall, bringing it back down there on the bottom side. Whoa, hang on to it. Jeff Barker down there on the infield. That 5:13, that'll end his qualifying run. Patrick Spangler going for the sweep tonight out there in front with a 13.999 for his qualifying time. Brandon Templeton with a 14.027 for his. Now we have Mike Wheaton and Cale Bixler, they have not qualified. Heat number 1 coming up here on the grid. Pat Boyce out there in first. Terry Landis in second. Matt Barber there third. Patrick Spangler fourth. Steven Bixler there fifth. Chad Lackey in sixth. Mike Wheaton rolls off in seventh. Now these drivers get rocking and rolling here. We see 6 laps to go. I'll come down out of turn number 3 and 4. The one unique thing about Cedar Lake is the pace car flies down the front stretch whenever these guys take the green flag to dive off into the pits out of turn number 1. Green flag is out. In the corner number 1 and 2 they go. Now they go 3 wide already. Up there off the corner. Get a little bit of touch out of that gas monkey number. Trying to figure who that is at the 39. I think Spangler. No, I'm sorry. Spangler down there on the bottom side. He's trying to chase down Matt Barber. Terry Landis there in the 161 up there on top side. That's the 41. Pat Boyce. Now we see Steven Bixler falling back there. That's the number 75. That's who I was trying to figure out who that gas monkey was. And look at that way around and up across there on the start-finish line. Spangler, you want all the wheels on the track? You don't want to be, I don't think popping wheel is going to help you control that car much. So from up there towards the front, clear to the back, goes Spangler. Terry Landis there in second. Chad Lackey third. Mike Wheeler back here in fourth. Pat Boyce there in fifth. We're here on the final lap for Matt Barber as he's out there leading the way. Landis in second. Chad Lackey there third. Down there across the bottom, you see Matt Barber getting the win. Wait on the results. for heat number 1 to come in. Heat number 1, Matt Barber gets the win. Terry Landis there second. Chad Lackey third. Pat Boyce there in fourth. Mike Wheeler fifth. Stephen Bixler there sixth. Patrick Spangler in seventh. And then we'll have heat number 2 coming up here. That's going to be Andy Patton out there in front. Brandon Dittmer there second. Jack Hitt there third. Brandon Templeton fourth. Bob DeGood there fifth. Jeff Barker sixth. Cal Bixler there in seventh. And that will be your starting grid. And those are your 14 drivers that are going to end up competing here in the main event. Heat number 1, major inside row. Heat number 2, that's going to decide your outside row. Down away through turn 1 and 2. Now it's in them all fight for positions. You got Andy Patton there in at 87. Jack Hitt down there on the bottom side. I think Templeton's up there flirting with danger with the outside wall. Oh, I'm sorry, no, that's not. That is Dittmer. Dittmer is flirting with danger with that outside wall. He gets it back under control here, down through turn 1 and 2, back way up there against that outside cushion. Down through the backstretch here into corner number 3 and 4. And they come flying off here. It's Jack Hitt there out front. 3 to go here in heat number 2. Dittmer there in second. Templeton in third. Templeton ends up catching the tires. Barker there in fourth. Andy Patton there fifth. Bob DeGood back here sixth. Cal Bixler did not take the grid. Jack Hitt. He catches some tire, it looks like, down there on the infield. Final lap here for Jack Hitt. Dittmer up there against that outside wall, riding it. And come there off the corner. Templeton there in third. He's going to take a shot to the outside. Get that momentum coming off, and it's still going to be Dittmer with second. Jack Hitt will get the win. Bob DeGood having issues. He comes across the line. Heat number 2, results. Gonna be Jack Hitt, Brandon Dittmer there second, Brandon Templeton there third, Jeff Barker fourth, Andy Patton there fifth, Bob DeGood there in sixth, and Kel Bixler there in seventh. We'll be back after warm-ups.
these dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. In the hospital 8 months, and it got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
All right, we're back live here from Cedar Lake. Matt Barber, he's going to be your pole sitter here tonight. Jack Hitt starting on the outside. Terry Landis there in third. Brandon Dittmer there in fourth. Chad Lackey fifth. Brandon Templeton, he'll roll off in sixth. Pat Boyce there in seventh. Jeff Barker in eighth. Mike Weeda there ninth. Andy Patton there in 10th. Steve Bixler in 11th. Bobby Good in 12th. Rolling off here in your final row. Patrick Spangler in 13th. And Cale Bixler rolls off in 14th. All right, here we go. We're there off of the corner. One more time around. Got these midgets all lined up. They're looking great. They roll down the front stretch now. Down into corner number one. There we go. Side by side. Down there against the bottom side. Up there. Off. Look out. Here comes. It's that Dittmer in that 83. Working that high side. Trying to get something happening. We see them bouncing around a little bit there as they come through the corner. And up into the outside wall goes Dittmer. Chad Lackey here in third. Jack Hitt up there in second. Spangler, he's made some moves. He's trying to get that bottom side to work. 24 laps to go here at Cedar Lake for the midgets here tonight. During the Hometown Heroes broadcast down here in the corner number one, we got Matt Barber out there in front. Jack Hitt here in second. Brandon Templeton there in third. Was now third. Now up here in second as he fights along to the outside there. That was in 217. A Hitt working that bottom side. Not sure that bottom is prevailing at the moment. I would see Spangler working that bottom as well, working down there off the corner. And the corner number 1 and 2, got to try to keep it under control. Don't want to, 1, hit them infield tires, or 2, you don't want to go and spin it around. Both are very likely situations here at Cedar Lake here tonight, as we see Templeton up there against that outside wall. As the drivers work down through the backstretch here into corner number 3 and 4. 20 laps to go here at. Caution is out. Bob the Good having problems. Alright, you see the number 7, Bob the Good. Issue there for him as he comes there off the corner. Looks good coming down there. Bumps the outside wall, and it just picks him up and spins him around and then upside down. And that'll be that there for Bob the Good. $19 laps to go. Green flag off. Pace car not quite off the track when they started getting on that belt pedal. Down there in the corner number 3 and 4. Back up here in the corner number... I'm sorry, that was 1 and 2. Down here through 3 and 4. Now we're looking at them coming off. Coming underneath Barney in the flag stand. And that's the one thing, like I said, it is kind of odd here at Cedar Lake. Is the drivers can start getting on the gas before that pace car is completely off the speedway. Dittmer having a problem just like Bob did. That out wide wall's reaching out and grabbing a hold of him. And he ended up drifting on back there. He's sitting about 8th right now. Could go back even more if he's not careful. Spangler working down there on the bottom side. Going to be careful not to catch them infield tires. And the 161 there of Terry Landis. He's battling the 217. Trying to figure out who he's battling. I think that's the 60. Yeah, that's the... No, the 71. Trying to figure out who that is there. Nah, it looks like it's Matt Barber. And at 71. 14 laps to go here at Cedar Lake. Down through the front stretch into corner number 1 and 2. 13 laps to go as they come here off a turn 2. Down there into 3 and 4. Hamilton out front. Terry Landis there in a 3rd. Jack Hitt there 2nd. Matt Barber there 4th. Chad Lackey 5th. Patrick Spangler there 6th. Jeff Barker there 7th. There you see Brandon Dittmer there in 8th. Stephen Bixler in 9th. Mike Weida there in 10th as they roll it on down through there. In the corner number 1 and 2. Terry Landis there in 3rd. Jack Hitt 2nd. 11 laps to go. They work down the backstretch into corner number 3 and 4. Brandon Dittmer having issues. Now he's falling back all the way. And he is up and over on the racetrack. That boy's out there. Not sure what happened to Dittmer as he's just rolled over there. Up and over top of that bank. We'll take a look at it here. He's up there against that outside wall. He's been flirting with that outside wall all night long as you see him come down across the stripe here and then gets high and bounces up and then up and over he goes. What a tumble he took. Alright, come out and got him. Green flag, 7 laps to go. Jack Hitt there in 2nd. Terry Landis there 3rd. Matt Barber in 4th. Down here in the corner number 3 and 4. Back out there onto the front stretch. Back underneath Barney. Got Matt Barber there, as we said, in 4th. 6 laps to go here tonight in the midgets. As you see him up there along the top side. Brandon Templeton, Jack Hitt there in 2nd. Terry Landis there 3rd. Matt Barber there 4th. Patrick Spangler there 5th. Chad Lackey there 6th. Jeff Barker in 7th. Stephen Bixler in 8th. Mike Weida in 9th. Pat Boyce there in 10th. And we watch him come there through turn 1 and 2. Or through 3 and 4 rather. Down through 1 and 2. Matt Barber there in 4th. Terry Landis there in 3rd. Jack Hitt in 2nd. And 217. Hooters. Brandon Dittmer, as we said, sitting in the pits. Chad Lackey issues. Caution comes out. 3 laps to go. Lady Chad Lackey making it down here in the corner number 3 and 4. And just ends up getting popped around by them infield tires. Now, see that 53. What a move by him. Or was, sorry, the 513. Jeff Barker. There you see him working there off the corner. Three laps to go. That is the distance. Lights out on the pace car here. Coming through turn number 4. They're getting on the loud pedal here, chasing that pace car down the front straightaway. In the corner number 1, Brandon Templeton up there on the outside. Jack Hitt down there on the bottom. Terry Landis there 3rd. Patrick Spangler there in 4th. Matt Barber there in 4th now as Patrick Spangler falls back to 5th. Checkered white flag is out. Final lap. Brandon Templeton there out front. He's got Jack Hitt there on the bottom side. Trying to hang on to it there as they work off on the final corner. Final time here as they get the checkered flag. It will be Brandon Templeton getting the win. Jack Hitt there in 2nd. Terry Landis there 3rd. No 3-peat for Patrick Spangler tonight. Here is your results for the midgets tonight. Brandon Templeton out there in front. Jack Hitt in 2nd. Terry Landis 3rd. Matt Barber 4th. Patrick Spangler 5th. Jeff Barker 6th. Stephen Bixler there 7th. Mike Weeda there 8th. Pat Boyce there in 9th. Chad Lackey in 10th. Brandon Dittmer there in 11th. Bob DeGood there in 12th. Andy Patton there in 12th. Kel Bixler there in 14th. All right, again with 3rd place here, Terry Landis. Good evening here, Terry. How's it going?
All right, sir. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How fun were them midgets tonight?
Oh, they were a blast, bro. Holy crap. They made this old man work up a sweat tonight.
Well, it looked like everybody was having quite the fun out there. And kind of take it through. How do you think your race went tonight? Did that car feel up to the task to get 3rd?
Yeah. I was hitting my marks pretty good. Once I got into 3rd, I just tried to do what Jack was doing up there, because I was starting to catch him at the end. He showed me the slider line, and I was starting to hook it up pretty good. But yeah, it was a good race.
Did you stay off them detrimental infield tires tonight?
Oh my gosh, that's where I make my money, down there on the bottom. And I said to myself, there ain't no way I'm going to even try it down there. The top's fast, and I can run the midgets pretty good on the top, so I gave it a try and ended up 3rd.
All right, well, congrats getting 3rd. You got sponsors, shout-outs, anybody you want to thank for getting 3rd tonight?
Yeah, I want to give a special shout-out to Bill. He's in our prayers every day and all that stuff, and wish him the best he can be. That's all you can do. And you for putting it on, Adam, for your raps. Without them, we wouldn't be here. And who else? Boys back at KSR. Galen's Homegrown Popcorn. put cart in the checkout, and you'll get 50% off. And like Judy and Cedar. That's it.
Alrighty, well, congrats again there, Terry, for third place, and hopefully you can continue this momentum as the season gets underway here.
Yeah, we'll hope so. It's gonna be fun. It's always a battle with midgets with these two guys, and then once in a while, you have it's midgets is wide open. It's really good. I wish more people would come out. They're really fun to drive.
Alrighty, well, congrats again on third, and we'll see you next week there, Terry, and to see how well that plays out for you as the season gets underway.
All right, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, that was Terry Landis there, our third place finisher. Now we'll get with Jack Hitt. Good evening there, Jack. How's it going?
Oh, good. How's it going, Adam?
It's going fairly well. How's second place feel here tonight? I know it was quite the battle.
Yeah, it feels good. No stranger to following Brandon to the finish line, so no surprise there, but thought I might have had something there for him.
Well, I mean, you look good. Seemed hooked up down on the bottom there, because it looked like you were running bottom to mid-line there for most of the race.
Yeah, on that restart, knowing there were only 2 laps there, I figured I'd try the bottom. Maybe couldn't get the momentum up on the high side, and it came close, but Terry also came close to stealing second from me. So, but definitely happy starting the season off with P2.
You guys sponsor shout-outs. Anybody you want to thank for helping get that second place podium tonight?
Oh, just the girls at Hooters always keeping everything looped up on it for me. Other than that, just got to thank you for putting on the broadcast, everybody in the league making things go around, and all the guys that come out and help put on these good races.
Alrighty, well, we greatly appreciate you drivers and being able to be here to put on the show ourselves. So, congrats on second. We'll see how well this momentum can carry on through the start of the season.
Yeah, thanks, Adam.
That was Jack Hitt, our second place finisher. Now I'll get with Brandon Templeton. Good evening there, Brandon. How's it going?
Pretty good now. How about yourself?
It's going fairly well. How's Victory Lane feel here in the midgets?
Pretty good way to start off the season, really excited with Regal Wraps and Design, and having a broadcast back in the midgets after a couple seasons and not having a broadcast for the midgets. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be exciting. And seems like they put on a lot of wheel-to-wheel close racing usually, so it should be fun.
Looks like it is a lot of fun out there. You guys had a blast going around Cedar Lake tonight. And can't wait to see what the rest of the season holds for you as you carry this momentum into next week.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think a couple of the guys from our team are going to jump in, so I don't know. We might lose a couple cars, but we're going to gain a couple for sure. So hopefully we'll keep the car counts going and build this class.
All right. I mean, I enjoy taking them out. I don't know if I'm confident enough yet to go and race against other people with them, but they are a blast to drive.
Yeah, they're fun just even hot lapping by yourself, like you even say. Like, it just feels, there's a sense of speed there. It always feels like you're just about wrecking, so it makes it kind of fun.
Oh, what do you mean just about wrecking? If you catch something just wrong, I mean, if you on some of these dirt tracks, there's some slight bumps. If you catch that bump wrong, you're popping that front end up, and then you're spinning it around like we saw. I think it was Spangler ended up spinning it around here tonight.
Yeah, the midgets, I guess sometimes it's kind of called like wrecking with style, just like kind of the old, from the Toy Story, the dude that flew, so.
that is true. I mean, they definitely have style when they start spinning around with that front end up in the air and everything.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
But great job getting the victory. You got sponsors, shout-outs, anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, thanks to Regal Wraps and Design, you and everything for putting on the broadcast and for stepping up and sponsoring the midgets, getting us on the broadcast, getting some exposure. It's fun to watch back and let people watch. So thanks to you, first of all. Thanks to Stream Images, Melee's Makery, Big C's Lawn Care, Malvern Bank, the Dirt Track Bank there, dirttrack.bank. Check them out. Everyone at Coast to Coast and everyone watching at home, we appreciate you. Thanks.
All righty. Well, congrats again there, Brandon. You can't wait to see what next week holds for us. All right. That'll do it here from Cedar Lake, and as we said before, Lernerville, where we started our night. Now we finished up here at Cedar Lake. Thank you, everybody, for coming out to the Coast to Coast Racing Network and letting us put on a show here. Hopefully you all enjoyed the action. I know we were a little late getting going at Coast to Coast Racing Network. We got a couple of the heats over at Flieger Farm TV, hopefully, and can't wait to see when it all plays out here tonight. So, congrats to the winners and the movers here tonight as we go on to next week for race number 2 of the 12-week season here at Coast to Coast Racing Network and Coast to Coast Racing League. Thank you all for watching. We'll catch you around.
There you go. Congrats. From Bristol.